Alrighty, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the second day of May 2019. Well, it's a two energy, making it about balance and cycles and all of that. Can mean decisions, maybe, but I like to look at it in terms of balance. A day to try to strike a balance or to remain in balance or to get in balance, depending on what's going on with you today. We got back from our walk and we went out and we watered a bit, so bought me a little time. I did a little weeding, so hopefully I got all the dirt out from underneath my fingernails. This is just this time of year, though. I can only do what I can, you know. It gets down in there and there's just nothing I can do. So sorry about that. That's what happens when you're an herbalist and you grow everything in sight. So anyhow, well, it's Thursday. That's a Jupiter day. However, Jupiter is in retrograde right now, so instead of expansive energies externally, try to expand on energies internally. Maybe focus on a little inner work instead of being concerned with the outer aspects of self. Maybe focus on the inner aspects of self. Kind of slows things down a little bit to do that when Jupiter is in retrograde. Expansive, but just in a different direction, really. So let's get started. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've come back, thank you so much. We're going to ultimately draw 3 cards. I'm going to do them one at a time, though. And I'm going to take the 13th card each time. And you don't have to do that. That's just my process. So anyhow, let's get going today. See what the first card is. Husband and I went to see Avengers, the Endgame, yesterday. Oh, my God. I'm not going to say a word in case you haven't seen it yet. When the kids were at home, we used to always go to the movies. And I mean, not all the time, you know, but if there was one that we all wanted to see, we'd go. And it was a family thing, you know. So we don't do it so much now that the kids are all grown and gone and living elsewhere. But it was fun to go, you know, just to sit there and watch this movie. And it was so well done. But that's all I'm going to say. Anyhow, so the first card for today, though, is the 3 of Cups. Here we see 3 friends together, 3 women holding their chalices high in celebration. We think mind, body, spirit. When we think the 3, we think maiden, mother, crone, triplicities. The 3 of Cups is about balanced energy exchange, really, isn't it? The 3 is a really powerful number, though. I want to look here. There was one thing that I had written down in the tarot grimoire about it, and I wanted to see if it's in this one or if it's in a different one. I have several of these, and sometimes I get to thinking, well, I'm going to transfer all the information, right? Well, I don't. So, no, it's not in this one. Well, success, abundance, balance, harmony, celebration, all of that, the obvious things. So we're starting out on a good note anyway on this Thursday, this 2 energy day. Maybe it's about keeping mind, body, and spirit in balance. You know, because if we're not, you know, I don't know how you're ever happy. I don't know how happiness sticks when everything is in chaos. I don't know how you can choose to be happy when everything's in chaos, if you're focused on that anyway. I mean, you can always step aside it and you know, choose to be happy anyway. That's sort of part of the creative process. You know, when we say that we are all the creator in form and we manifest this whole experience together, it's true. When we say that we create our reality, it's true. But really what we're doing is we're looking at an existing reality and we're forming our own belief system surrounding it, or our own perceptions. And that's what we create. And unfortunately, from that standpoint, it affects our mood, it affects our happiness, it affects our ability to get anything done. I mean, it really either opens the door, our perceptions do, it either opens the door to new creativity or it shuts it completely. I'm not sure there's any real middle ground there. in this choice that we make. You know, two is about duality and choice. So here, these three people have come together, you know, with intention, choosing to be happy and harmonious with one another. Let's look at another card, though. And if you've been following along all week, Monday we were balancing dark with light. We had a numerology of 11, and Tiwaz was the rune. So spiritual warrior within. At least I think that was, yeah. Yeah, because that would have been the 29th. Okay, so that was Monday. I don't think I wrote one down here. I'll have to look on what it was yesterday. Do I have my magnifying glass? I do. Yeah, I forgot to write it down here on the screen. I have these little post-it note things on my laptop here. But yeah, it was about balancing dark and light. The next one was about, on Tuesday, was about the end of one cycle and a new cycle of balanced energy exchange with Unyo. Uh, that was Tuesday. But then yesterday, so again, we're still talking about balance. Then we had the Eight of Wands, which was a lot of stuff coming in on us. The Five of Swords, which was change, the Two of Pentacles, which again was juggling, only practical matters. So having to make some decisions, and then Manas, and it was a 1 day, so new beginnings. But Manas is about the individual in society. So basically, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to find where we are maybe in all of this. I think that we've been experiencing a lot of division in our world, and it could be that we're starting to see a shift more, at least to maybe the need for balance with everyone, to understand that everyone is the other side of self instead of the other. Maybe we're just getting tired and worn out of all of the drama and the chaos, and we just want to come together with one another now in happiness and love and peace and harmony. But here we have the 17th card from the Major Arcana, the Star. And here the goddess is basically, this is wishing upon a star. She's pouring water both in she's got 1 foot on land, or where she's kneeling on the land, and 1 foot in the pool. And she's basically pouring the waters of life both into the pond and onto the land, isn't she? It's the whole notion of when you wish upon a star, you're wanting something better, aren't you? Being an 8 energy, this as well, 17, yes, 17 reduces to 8. So being an 8 energy, what we're looking at there is we're looking at strength, basically strength within, leadership. We're also looking at a higher self-awareness. So it's not just unity and harmony, but it's about the greater aspect of creation, or the greater aspect of the creation itself, being one, essentially. But when you see the star, it's about hope and inspiration. Uh, she's the blessed conduit between the as above, so below nature of life. So she's the blessed conduit between source, or the creator, and form. In a sense, we all are, aren't we? But when she appears, our dreams are becoming reality. It's about healing and openness and optimism and spiritual gifts. So when we see this, and then we see the Three of Cups, you know, you're looking at success, really, bright prospects. Something is about to happen that's positive in our lives. Maybe we're about to get a raise. Maybe we're about to take a new job. Maybe a new child is being born. Maybe, you know, maybe someone's getting married. But maybe there's some kind of transition into harmony, where some expression of harmony is going to result here, that then leads to some kind of successful outcome. But let's do the third card. Well, we have the High Priestess, the second card, or card 2, It depends on where you want to put the Fool. Believe it or not, some people put the Fool at the very end, so then it would be the second card. Otherwise, it's actually the third. But it's card 2, number 2, the High Priestess. She sits between the two pillars. I want to say that the B is Boaz. Is it Boaz? And the J represents Joam. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm probably butchering that, but I think Boaz on the B. She has her foot resting on a crescent moon. She holds the Torah, knowledge. You see the triple goddess portrayed in her crown, don't you? Maiden, mother, and crone. Phases of the moon. You see pomegranates. I believe they're pomegranates, or are they grapes? Let me look. No, I think they're pomegranates. You see the cross in the middle of her white gown. She's wearing a kind of a sage green wrap of some kind, cape of some kind. But she looks directly at the reader, doesn't she? First, you have the Fool, okay? Undeveloped potential. Then we have the Magician or the Magus. And that's the alchemical process of coming into form, of creating life. But it's not finished because the High Priestess is part of that process before we get to the Empress. Now, the High Priestess is basically representing the feminine divine. And again, along with the star, sort of aligns with the star in that we're talking about psychic ability and inspiration and secret knowledge and intuition, thought to be the virgin moon. We see depth with this individual, but we also do with the star. But she basically, whereas the star, as the blessed conduit, is the pivot point between the energies coming in from spirit and the energies going out into ego or form, then High Priestess is basically, she represents the unconscious realm. So she would represent spirit as it's still manifesting. But she represents going within and stillness and alignment. But it's bringing everything into balance. So when you start out then, I guess, then with the Magician and the alchemical process of coming into form and manifesting our will and manifesting all elements really into form. From there, we have to bring it back into balance, don't we? Because without that balance, without the balance of dark and light, we can't then proceed on, can we? So we've got to get that squared away first. And so that's what happens when we see the High Priestess. So again, I think the theme of this week has been bringing things back into balance. And if we end it with the High Priestess card, then, that's higher self saying, look, folks, understand who we are. This drama, this working at cross purposes with one another, we know that it's happening societally right now, but it also may be happening in our personal lives where we're working at cross purposes either with the self or with others. You can think that maybe with the Three of Cups that we're really talking about a group, but not necessarily. Because if we're talking about mind, body, spirit, then that's just within. That doesn't need a group. That's just you. That's just each one of us. But here we have Isa. That's the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark. And so you're talking, again, balance. It's being the 11th rune, that's the 11 is a master number for illumination. So when we are in balance, if you were to reduce it to 2, it would align with today, but we're not going to do that. We don't do that with the 11 ever. But you could, and if you did, then you would, basically, you would have the High Priestess, wouldn't you? So see 5. Let's see, 8 and 5 is 13. So I view the 13 as a master witch number. I view the 7 as well. I think we're going to leave, we're not going to include the rune in on the overall numerology since it's an 11. We're going to leave that alone. There's something to be said for when we talk about ascension, okay, what that really is a change in vibrational state, moving out of the reincarnation cycle and into an ascension cycle where we're not repeating. Well, we're not actually repeating, it all happens at once, but I know it seems odd to say that, but I think it's true. Um, and then we are living these expressions on behalf of Source as little coordinated points of Source energy, basically. But what we've been doing is we've been coming back and coming back and coming back within this same type of construct. And whether or not that was intended or whether or not it just happened because of outside intervention in terms of our DNA structure genetically, I mean, that happened. So who's to say that we were supposed to do this? Maybe we weren't. Maybe we were supposed to be able to ascend on like anyone else. Because I think that that's the default state of the collective consciousness, is being able to ascend when you want to and where you want to. But right now, it's suggested that as long as 51% of the population is ready to do that, and I think we're there, you're going to see a lot of catalytic things happen. And yes, they're upsetting, but they're there to motivate us to go in another direction, in the direction of ascension, not into the direction of conflict. You know, we can react and react and react to whatever's going on out there. As upsetting as it might be, for others, it might be what they're looking for. I don't know. All I know is that in ascension, we move away from the traditional structure and into something better that we control. The reincarnation cycle doesn't feel like we have a whole lot of control, even though part of it we do. Who we are, how we, where we focus in, what we do, that's a choice. But we're stuck in this weird cycle that we've been unable to get out of. We've had opportunities, but collectively we haven't been ready. And I'm not sure, at this point, the planet itself is ready. So whether we like it or not, this is happening. So I'm thinking that the chaotic stuff that's not so fun is motivating us to think about who we are and who we are to one another. I mean, are we comfortable with being at odds with each other when in fact each one of us is just the other side of self for everyone else? In other words, if this was just all one big physical body, we would all be cells within the body. Why would we not want to work in concert with one another for the health of the body, right? I mean, it's really, really simple. But that's exactly what we are. We're all part of the same collective consciousness. And so, but at this point, there's a pressure here to wake up and to see the illusion that we've been living under. When we are express the isms in our life, we're living under an illusion that we are separate from one another, and we are not. We are living with the illusion that someone else is the enemy when they're a brother or a sister, their family. They're part of the same vibrational structure of the Creator, manifested into form. If that statement doesn't change your life, I don't know what will. To understand who we actually are. And I think what we've been seeing, and we saw this last week, where we were asked to take a look at those illusions and reject them, just out of hand. They're not useful to us. We saw that all last week. I think we're seeing the same sort of thing this week, where we're taking a look at the harmful effect of a lack of balance, how it doesn't get us where we need to go. Whereas you see here today with the Three of Cups, you see mind, body, spirit in balance. You see in harmony with other people, the love that's expressed, the joy that's expressed. That's at the heart of success. Success without it, if it's in service to self only, well, you're not benefiting anyone else. I mean, it's like you're benefiting this one little cell in the body to the expense of, everyone else. Why would you do that? So we're seeing a shift in consciousness, perhaps, to where we're looking at everything in terms of the effect of the separation, what that's done to all of us, what it's done to our ability to ascend into new experiences in a way that makes more sense spiritually. Because that's all it's done. When you see the other, well, we're stuck here, folks. Stop seeing the other. See the other side of self and express love for that. If it's somebody that is challenging, and ideally, you're looking at something that you might have done yourself at some point in another expression, or maybe you've done it in this one. And so you're viewing something that maybe that's a part of you or has been a part of you that was not particularly comfortable. So really, rather than judging them for that, thank them, bless them. I know, different idea, but it's in the direction of ascension, isn't it? It's and out of the direction of reincarnation. It's like feeling like you can't get a leg up, no matter what you do. There's this thing, this pressure keeping you in your place. And now it seems like all we want to do is break out of that, right? You see it with older people who retire and start a new whole new life. Maybe they open another business, they take a passion of theirs, they turn it into something else. Who knows what you do? But you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of people that are coming together. Just in New Zealand alone, what we saw there when the shootings happened in the synagogues, or not, it wasn't synagogues. It was not the synagogue, but the mosques. The whole country came out in support of these folks that were not only injured and who died, but the families. They offered citizenship to everyone. I mean, talk about coming together and standing up against hate and confusion and chaos, and seeing people as the other. That isn't what happened there. Everyone became family instantly. And it's that movement, that motivation, that all of this nastiness that we're experiencing, that's what's invoking all of it. It's pushing us, in a sense, toward ascension. Because we know in our heart and in our soul that this is not the right way. We want to wish upon a star. Well, we don't have to wish. We just need to manifest. We need to manifest the world we want to see. We need to manifest the relationships we want to have. I don't know. If we stay apart, if we stay separated, if we see everyone as the enemy or as someone, oh boy, I don't want to talk to that person, you're missing out. You're missing out on so much. So if you want to, I don't do this on Friday, so if you'll have 3 days here, you can think about this maybe, but chant Isa, go within, chant Isa silently, quietly, bring yourself back to a still point, and know that what I'm saying is true, that we are all one, that we couldn't be separated even if we tried. But it's this trying that we're doing that's causing so much unrest and so much heartache. When really, all we really want to do is come together with one another and elevate this whole experience that we're having, this collective experience that we're having, in the direction of ascension and not in the direction of reincarnation. Just go within, call back all of your energy, bring it to a still point, and know the truth, that we are all one in source energy. We are all one in the Creator. And together we can accomplish anything. We can manifest collectively anything. We don't have to always agree. That's the catalyst for anything new. It's the spark of different ideas coming together. Maybe nobody's gets chosen, but maybe out of all of them, something greater is created, isn't it? How many times does that happen? It would happen more often if we just let it. But it requires coming into balance. It requires seeing everyone as the other side of self and blessing everyone for that. To let go of judgment, to let go of all these little special relationships that the Course in Miracles talks about. I remember when I read that, I started laughing. It's like, oh, okay. When I decide that you need to do this and that so that I'm happy and comfortable, I've just created a special relationship, haven't I? Yeah, let go of the special relationships. Nobody needs to do anything for you. You have it all. You have it all inside. You really do. But in any event, thank you so much for coming by today. I think that we're going to start to see this, where we're going to maybe see a week's worth of divinations that seem to align with one another last week, and this week sort of built on last week. So maybe this is a momentum, and that's what I'm hoping for here. So let's see if we can't manifest that. In any event, get outside, walk around, work in your yard, work in your garden, go plant something. I just dug up some dandelion root out of my strawberry beds. I mean, they were like this long. Oh my goodness, they're a couple years old. I let them sit for a couple years so that the roots get real big, and then in the spring and in the fall I'll dig them. Well, I didn't dig them last year, so in the fall, so I got to dig some today, and oh my goodness, they're just looking great. So you just never know what you're going to find out there. So go outside. Unless it's chemtraily, then I don't know, take an umbrella. I don't know. Anyhow, be good to yourself, be good to one another. We'll see you on Monday, and blessed be.